homesteading to prepping to common horse sense, we are College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, this week has been kind of crazy. We've had a family visit, and I always love for a family to come. I haven't got a lot done on the homestead, but I love for family to come and visit. It tickles me to death to have them. Now, it's been a little crazy. The wind for the last few days has been 40 or 50 miles an hour. Sustained winds in the 20s and 30s. So filming is a little bit tough. It keeps blowing my cameras over. So I haven't done a lot of filming this week. Hopefully I get back at that next week. But it's time to start looking at the things on the homestead. There are some signs on our homestead that spring is here. The very first one is that the plum trees bloom. They bloom too soon. They've been killed already. We had a 22-degree night, and the plum trees are done. There won't be any plums this year, so that's the way life goes. The peach trees have started to bloom, and so are the pear trees. So everything's starting to break out and bud and bloom, and so that's one sign of spring. Let me show you a couple more signs of spring. Right here is another sure sign of spring. Our jar cabinet is 100% full of empty jars. That's a sign of spring. The next sign of spring is that our pantry is just about depleted. So that's a sure sign of spring. And then there's one more. Here is our other sign of spring. Our freezers are nearly empty. This is our onion freezer. We keep onions and corn. Well, we're down to a few white onions and mainly some green onions. So all of our onions are used up. Now, here's a rundown of what we've got left. We've got, in the pantry, we've got 14 quarts and 9 pints of canned tomatoes. 8 pints of tomato juice. We've only got 2 quarts of dried tomatoes. Normally, we have 10. We've got 19 pints of green beans. We try and have 25 to 30 every year. We've got 9 pints of canned corn. We try and have about 25 cans of corn every year. We've got sauerkraut. We did sauerkraut, and you saw that in a video. We did P. Allen Smith's recipe, and it didn't make. It's just not good. We don't know if it was, we have 24 quarts of that are just going to have to get dumped out. We don't know what was the problem. It might have been our vinegar, might have been too weak, but if you're doing canning and things like that, stuff's going to fail. You just have to get ready for that. That's just going to happen. We've been doing it for years, and we still had a failure. Seedless raspberry jam, there are 4 pints left. Apple butter, there's 3 pints. Peach butter, there's 2.5 pints. Seedless blackberry jam, there are 2 pints. Bread and butter pickles, there's only 2 pints. Dill pickles, there are 4 pints. Sweet relish, we have 10 pints, so we don't have to do relish at all this year. And carrots, we only have 2 pints. So in the pantry, we're going to have canned corn. We're going to have kraut. We're going to have raspberry jam. We need bread and butter pickles and dill pickles. We don't have to do sweet relish this year. So I'm going to have to plant plenty of cucumbers so that we can do bread and butter pickles and dill pickles. And to go along with those, you got to have plenty of onions, white onions. So that's what's in the pantry. So we've got a lot to look at. Now, in the freezer, I don't have any of our white half runners. We've got 2 bags of greasy beans, 2 pints. We've got 3 pints of cranberry beans. I don't have any speckled greasies or any 6-week beans. We have no shuck beans. Normally we have between 8 and 10 quarts of shuck beans in the pantry. That's dried beans. And I make them out of 6-week beans, but we don't have any. We've used them all. Of course, we have no bags of tomatoes in the freezer. We have no bags of fried corn. We've got 4 bags of corn on the cob. You saw that in the little freezer. We have no broccoli. We have no what we call weedy broccoli. Some people might call it broccolini. We don't have any of that. It's bolted broccoli. We eat the bolted broccoli just like we eat regular broccoli. It is awesome. Anyway, we don't have any cauliflower. We have 22-gallon bags of cabbage. Now, we had 55 year before last. So we've used 20, almost 30 bags of cabbage. So we might need 5 or 6 more bags of cabbage to get us through. Green onions, we have 5-gallon bags. You saw those in the little freezer. We have no white onions. We had that one little bag of what those were pearl onions that had been diced up. We have no mixed peppers, no poblano peppers, no jalapeno peppers in the freezer. There's no squash. There's no pumpkin. We have 8 gallons of grapes, 5 gallons of autumn olives, 4 gallons of blackberries, and 3 gallons of raspberries. So we've got some freezer stuff left, and we don't have any okra. We have 2 bags of okra. Excuse me, I skipped the okra. We have 2 bags of okra. So we've got plenty of stuff that we need to repopulate our freezers. Now, I went the other day and I bought seed potatoes. You know, we lost seed there. One year we had a late freeze and it killed our potatoes, and then the next year I was sick and couldn't plant any potatoes. So I had messed my shoulder up. So I missed a year of planting potatoes. So we've had to buy our seed potatoes back. I went to our local hardware store that sells them, and they had Kennebecks for $28.50 for a 50-pound bag. Now, it told me that day that I'm getting old, because I couldn't lift that 50-pound bag and throw it up on my shoulder. I guess combination of shoulder and not doing a lot over the winter, it's made it where I'm a little weaker than normal. But I bought a 50-pound bag of Kennebec potatoes. Then I went over. I like to have specialty potatoes. Crystal and I have, ever since we moved to this homestead, we have been growing a blue Adirondack potato and a red Pontiac. Well, I couldn't get any red Pontiacs. That's the nature of the thing. I couldn't get any locally, so I found something called a Northland red potato. And you might ask, why certified seed potatoes? Well, let me tell you. You could get potatoes right out of the grocery store and cut them and use them and grow potatoes. Absolutely you could. But potato growers will spray their crops, and I'm talking about I'm anti-pesticide and all that. That's not me. Okay? I spray permethrin, and okay, I spray pesticides and stuff on my homestead. I am not organic. Just so you know, organic's a made-up word. Okay, it was a word that chemists use to describe anything with carbon in it. So somebody decided that if they put the word organic, it would mean that it was better than something else. All organic means is it's raised in shit instead of raised in fertilizer. That's what it means. But they couldn't hardly go, well, let's see, what are we going to call this? Raised in crap. Okay, that just doesn't sound as good. Let's call it organic. So anyway, and I don't have a problem with raising stuff in crap because chicken crap makes some of the hottest onions you ever ate. Anyway, I bought Northland Reds and I bought Blue Adirondacks. Now, these little bags, my 50-pound bag cost me $28.50, I think was the amount. And this bag cost me $5. It's 4 pounds of Blue Adirondack potatoes. Well, for me, we don't want a whole lot of these specialty potatoes. Crystal makes a dish called Patriot potatoes, which is red, white, and blue. And we like it. It's just a microwave potato dish, but we like it. I like to grow them. They're a nice conversation piece. If you're going to go to a dinner or something, make a thing of Patriot potatoes. Everybody's interested in the red, white, and blue potatoes. So I bought 8 pounds of each one of these. And what that'll do is, it'll give us some to eat, but this gets me my seed back so I can plant more the next year. I generally get a 4 to 5 to 1 return. So if sometimes an 8 to 1 return on my potato planting. So if I get 8 to 1 return, I've got 8 pounds, that'll give me 64 pounds, that'll be a bushel of potatoes, 60 pounds to the bushel. So that'll be a bushel of potatoes, so that'll give me plenty to eat some, and then about a half a bushel to put on to plant back for next year. So that's what I'm doing for potatoes. Now, I save seed, but there's some seeds you can't save. There's a good example. Now, I like the super sweet corns. The G90, the peaches and cream, and all that, the super sweets. Silver Queen. I like all the super sweet corns, but my absolute favorite is this one. It's called candy corn. It's not the most expensive. I think Ambrosia was the most expensive, and they won $28 a pound for it. But this one is my favorite. It's called candy corn, and it's was $21.95 a pound. But I bought a pound of it. I plant about half a pound a year, so this is 2 years worth of seed corn. I also bought some other things that I was out of seed of. My Hickory King corn was 5 years old, and I was going to plant some last year, but I didn't get to plant anything. So my Hickory King seed was old. So I just went ahead, I'm going to use my seed anyway, but I went ahead and bought a pound. A pound of Hickory King seed was only $3.25. This year, because I'm going to plant, I have to plant sweet corn because we're completely out. I want the sweet corn to not have to not grow in with beans or in with pumpkins this year. So I'm going to plant Hickory King and plant my beans in it, and then I'll harvest some Hickory King for seed and make some cornmeal and that kind of thing. But that's our 2 purchases. Now, how do I store my seed? Well, I store my seed in a tote, in a clear tote, in the basement, in the dark most of the time. Well, let me get this over here out of the way. Put it right there. Okay. So, I have plenty of bean seed and tomato seed. There's Cherokee purple seed. I've got plenty of that, but my problem is the amount of time that I've had to work on stuff. This year, because of the projects going on, I'm probably going to buy my tomatoes plants, my broccoli and cauliflower and that kind of stuff. I'm going to buy it from the Mennonites. We have a big Mennonite community here, and they sell plants at a decent rate. Generally, you can buy a flat of 48 for $16, which is not a bad deal. So I don't know if their prices have gone up any, but let's see, what have I got here? I've got turnips, got plenty of those. Got plenty of summer squash and pumpkins. Got plenty of pumpkins seed. Got plenty of 6-week bean seed. Alright, I've got all of my heirloom bean seed, so that's not going to be a problem. What I did do this year, I have never been able to save. And all I do, folks, is dry my beans or dry whatever it is that I'm doing, that I'm saving, and I don't dry it in a dehydrator. I just let it dry naturally. The beans, I let them dry in the field almost, and then I harvest the bean seeds. The okra, you can go back and see all of our seed saving videos. We've done all kinds of seed saving videos. But this is what I do with them. I put them in a plastic bag and put them in this tote. And then they're down in the basement. Now our basement stays anywhere between 55. It's unheated, but the furnace is actually down here. And we have vents that go through the house. So it stays between 55 and probably 80 degrees in our basement year round, somewhere in that area. Even when the furnace is off, it stays 55 to 80 degrees here in the basement. So it's a pretty good habitat to keep my seeds in. I've kept seeds under the bed in the bedroom, and just wherever, put it in a tote so vermin can't get to it. Mice love this kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to have to do. We need to raise corn, so I'm going to put at least 6 rows of sweet corn out this year. We need corn, we need fried corn, we need corn on the cob, we need corn in the canned corn. We don't need many canned beans, so I probably won't grow many for that, but we're completely out of shuck beans, so I have to grow plenty of 6-week beans this year to make shuck beans with, and then white half runners and the greasies that need to be made into freezer beans, cooked beans. You can go back and see how we cook our beans. We've done a video on that. So we're just trying to get everything squared away and ready to go on our little homestead. Now, like I say, it's been an odd spring. I've been taking my time trying to build stuff. Now I've still got some things to go. I've got to build my tractor shed. I've got to build the greenhouse, finish it. The greenhouse is going way slower than I anticipated that it would go. I thought I would throw it up in no time, but it's just not progressing as quickly as I would like. But you know, that's the way it goes. You can only go as fast as you can go. So everything on your homestead takes forever. You know, we do a blog, and at the end of every blog post I say, remember to slow down and enjoy the ride, because it's a marathon, not a sprint. And that holds so true with everything that I have ever done on a homestead. I've been gardening since I was 8 years old, and I'm 59. I'll be 60 my next birthday. So I've been gardening for 50 years, 51 years, so everything takes a long time. You're not going to get the infrastructure on your homestead done overnight. Sometimes you have to let one thing go to get something else. An example is I had to let starting my plants in the basement go because I'm doing all this other stuff. There's just so much time in the day, and I'm not a spring chicken no more. Me or Crystal, neither one. So we're just moving along, chronicling our life, and we hope you come along for the ride. Now, if you like this stuff, this homestead and do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homestead stuff every week, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell when you come to the channel, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload every Sunday. Now, with that being said, it's time for me to get on to the next thing.